Good evening. I'm Alderman Manny Flores in the City of Chicago, representing the 1st Ward, and I want to welcome you to another segment of the 1st Ward Chronicles. In this evening's program, we have our special guest, Richard Monocchio, the Commissioner of the Department of Buildings. We will be focusing on the Department of Buildings and the services that it offers, and also provide you with some helpful tips on how to make sure that you're protecting your rights as a consumer and also as a neighbor, and also just informing you of some special programs that we have here that we're promoting through the Department of Buildings. I want to welcome you onto the program, Commissioner. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. It's great, and you know, we were having a great conversation here right before the show. You know, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and then about the department, and then we'll get into some of the Q&A.
Thanks, Alderman. Well, I'm a lifelong Chicagoan, except for a little time I spent out in D.C. in the Clinton administration with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Housing is, if you have a specialty, I guess that's it. We all do everything, right, Alderman? But so I was out. That was a great experience. Came back to the city when the federal government took over the Chicago Housing Authority in 1995. So that was a great experience because we were on the front end of transforming public housing as we know it to what we see in Chicago today, which
the
is
beginning of the plan for transformation.
Exactly, with the eradication of the high rises that obviously don't work, to the construction of new mixed income housing, which was a great experience as well. And then, of course, under the leadership of the mayor, that's continued. Spent 3 years, a little bit of a sidetrack, as chief of staff at Chicago Airport System. In that role, I was my main purpose there. Not one of the main reasons I was there was to get Midway built on time and on budget, which we did. I'm happy to say.
Great airport.
Thank you. That was definitely built in terms of consumer friendliness. I mean, that's the way we looked at that airport, to make it convenient and easy to traverse.
And you also worked for some time with the Department of Housing here in the City of Chicago.
I did. I spent almost 7 years there, which was a great experience, Alderman, because we were able to help so many people. I know how strongly you believe in affordable housing, and I just think, obviously, that's a great thing, and some of your colleagues feel the same way. So we created some new programs. Partnership for Affordable Neighborhoods, for example, where when the building boom was going on, we made it so that secretaries or administrative assistants, those type of folks, could actually get a condominium for $150,000 in a development where they were going for $350,000. Yeah. So that was through incentives with developers. Also started a program there that we're actually continuing, which is very important, called the Troubled Buildings Program. I was very concerned about the number, as the mayor was, slumlords that we had in the city. So we started a real effort to go after these landlords that owned multiple buildings, but were always in court, and making the tenants live in squalor when the tenants were paying, you know, a fair rent. So
these are usually seniors.
Yeah, families, lower income families who don't have much option to move from a place. So that's one of the things we've kept going here at the Department of Buildings. So after that, we started the Department of Construction and Permits, which has now been remerged into the Department of Buildings. So it's one department again. So that's how I got here. I started as acting commissioner in May of last year, and I think it was December or January where it was official. All right.
How big is the Department of Buildings now?
We've got about 350 employees right now.
And if you can just tell us, for the viewing audience, a little bit, what would you consider the core functions of the department?
Certainly, yes. The core function, and I would say if you ranked them, A, B, and C would be public safety, Alderman. Anything from construction site safety to open, dangerous, and hazardous buildings to cranes that are up in the air. You know, we see them every day. Our job is to make sure that we maintain the safety of our residents. So that is by far and away the number one priority. Also, of course, we need to keep the engine of construction going. So that's where our permit and inspection responsibilities come into play. So those I would say are our two primary missions there: public safety and making sure we issue permits in a timely fashion so that work can start on time and you can get your house built, you can get your restaurant built, do the inspections so you can get it open.
Yeah, and so we're talking about experts who know how to read blueprints, architects, right?
Yes.
Safety, inspection professionals, experts.
Correct.
When we talk about buildings, I think sometimes people think of just houses, but we're talking about towers, we're talking about structures,
yes,
talking about signs, the large,
right,
basically any structure,
right,
that requires that's going to trigger some permit review.
Exactly.
And issuance.
Appreciate your leadership on signs. You played a big role in that. We're getting to a lot more of these illegal signs as a result of your leadership and some of your colleagues, but that just goes to show you the sort of the breadth of the department, Alderman. A lot of folks don't realize, like you said, everything that we do. We also license all of the tradespeople in the city: general contractors, plumbers, electricians, masons.
And that's your department.
Correct.
That's
the Department of
responsible
Buildings.
for that. And if you think about how many, notwithstanding the slowdown
right,
in the market, you
right,
still have these trades and folks who are not in the trades, but who are perhaps in one of these vocational programs,
right,
going through the city's program to get licensed.
Exactly.
And it's also a great safeguard for our residents to ensure that we have individuals who know,
yes,
right? We're testing these folks to make sure that they know what they're doing. Absolutely.
If you're doing anything in your home that has anything to do with an outside contractor, it's very important to check our website to make sure that this contractor is licensed, or to call the city as well.
That's a nice segue. I want to talk about well, before we get there, and I was very impressed with the way that you described the before we started airing on the program here, the culture that you're trying to develop for the Department of Buildings. Tell us, give us a little feedback on that, because I think that's great, and I want the residents of the city to hear your leadership and what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, thank you, Alderman. I think when I stepped into this job, that was the first thing that I that I knew it's a good team we have, had to address, because let's face it, public perception of the Department of Buildings wasn't very high for many reasons. I mean, a lot of you folks, most folks read the paper, watch the news, see that we had some problems there. But it goes beyond that. I think the department, while there's many, many, many hardworking men and women, I just think the whole idea of the department, shifting from sort of, let's make sure we can, we're going to enforce the building code, but let's be reasonable. So instead of making sure we catch everything we can and get as many cases into court, for example, as we can, I'm changing it. I want to change it to a customer service oriented department, where we are actually working with homeowners, business owners. I mean, the old adage, we're the government, we're here to help, but we are moving in that direction.
You're protecting and serving.
Correct.
And facilitating a common sense approach,
yes,
to, as aldermen, and I know we've worked together, and we've had a very good line of communication between my office and your office, but it's amazing the types of service requests that can be generated.
Yes.
That would fall under the bucket of within the Department of Buildings and its purview. And I think